And I'm going to put myself on the screen, guys. Thanks for joining us. And for those that can't join us, get your pens ready because I am going to be sharing with you something that maybe you have never heard before, but it is going to make so much of a difference, not only in your Beachbody business, but in your life and your relationships and any time that you get an opportunity to interact with people. So where I want to start with this, yeah, perfect. Okay, where I want to start with this is I have Lori on the call with me right now, and we were just talking about one of the coach prospects that she's had, who has had some recent success with P90X3. And this isn't her first program. This is like her second or third program, right? But this is the one that she's really just completed start to finish.
She's never gone more than a week into one of the earlier programs, maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
She quit.
Okay. We've all done it. You know, it took me 3 times to get through P90X myself. So, I can understand where she comes from. What I want to share with you guys, and I'm working with you right now, Lori, because you're at a point where I think that this is just really going to change how you see things. I have currently been studying a book, a philosophy called Think and Grow Rich. And Think and Grow Rich has an advanced course called The Science of Success. And what the Science of Success is, it's a step-by-step approach on how to set your goal, what they call a definitive purpose, and the steps necessary in order to achieve them. And I'm not talking about a little goal. I'm not talking about, just walking around the block. I'm talking about like this life goal that very few people have the energy, the desire, the dedication to pursue. This is, I want to build a space shuttle out of paper clips. Just something that's just extraordinary and impossible, but somehow somebody does it. That's what this philosophy teaches. And where I'm at right now is the part where they talk about motives and the role of motives. And basically what he says, now I'm going to try to spit this out as verbatim as I can recall it. He says, you have no right whatsoever to ask anybody for anything unless you have planted a motive. For us, we hear it expressed a different way, and you've heard this before, Lori, is you want to identify their why. You've heard that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the 10 whys, the 10 motives. There's only 10 of them. Out of all the motives in the world, you can categorize them into 10. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through these, just run through all 10 of them, and then we're going to start doing some scenarios, some role playing. Okay, I'm going to start asking you some questions based off of your own life's experience, and then I want you to think about this coach prospect that we've been talking about. I want you to think about what can you tell her to get her going. Okay, so before I go, I want to paint this picture for you. Our first job as a coach when working with someone is first and foremost, identify where they want to go. Identify where they want to go. Because not everybody wants to lose weight. Some people want to, gain muscle. Some people just want to get cut up. Some people, they just want energy and vitality because they haven't felt it in a long time. So the first thing we have to do is, what do you want? Now, as a coach, we have to be very bold when we address someone's wants. Because most of the time, what they're telling us is a surface answer. If you want to lose, I don't know, Lori, how much weight have you lost in your journey so far?
Over 50.
Oh, over 50 pounds. Okay, if I would have asked you day one, Lori, where do you want to be when it's all said and done? Depending on where you were mentally and how you felt about yourself, you might have said, I'm okay with losing 5 pounds. But in the back of your mind and deep, deep, deep in your heart, you wanted to lose 50 pounds. You wanted to lose 60 pounds. You wanted the 6-pack. Maybe you didn't believe it, so you never asked for it. Our first job as coaches is to dig so deep that we get what they really want out of them. What do you really want? If you could not fail, where do you want to be? That's our first job as a coach, because no one else is going to ask them that. No one else is going to dig deep. So you have to be bold in asking them that. Second, you have to identify where they're at right now. Where are they at right now? If this is where they want to go, and this is where they're at right now, then you need to have the right motive behind them to get them to the goal. So if they're really far away from that goal, do you think they need less motives or more motives?
Sorry, you cut out.
If they're really far away from their goal, do you think they need less motives or more motives?
More.
More motives. If they're really close to their goal, do you think they need less motives or more motives?
Less.
Less. So our job as coaches first, what is their real goal? And how close are they to it? Okay. Our second job as coaches, I'm going to state it again. We have no right whatsoever to ask anybody for anything, to do anything, unless we have planted the right motives. Now, motives is motivation. It's your why. So let's take a look at it. Are you ready to take a look at it, Lori?
Yep.
Okay, let me share my screen here. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put this right here in the middle. Can you see that?
Yep.
And if I make it big, can you see it?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So let's run through them from the beginning to the end really quick. Number 1, self-preservation. Now what this means is economic security. You've heard it time and time again. I need to pay my bills. I need to put food on the table. I need to survive. As long as I survive, I'm okay. That is the number 1 driving factor for most people. Number 2 is love. The desire to be loved and the desire to love someone, something. Number 3 is fear. Now, there are 7 fears, and we'll cover them a little bit more here shortly. Poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of a loved one, loss of liberty, old age, and death. Let me correct this. Loss. Number 4 is sex. Okay, the desire for sex, we all want it, some more than others. Number 5, life after death. Number 6, freedom of body and mind. Today being Veterans Day, that's a very powerful one. Number 7, revenge. Revenge. Number 8, hate. Hate is a motivator. Number 9, self-expression and recognition. And number 10, at the end of the list, material gain. So let's go ahead and dissect these and pretend that we have a prospect. Okay, we've all seen this before. How many times have you tried to get someone on board to a challenge pack and they say, I don't have the money. I have to pay my cell phone bill. I have to pay the rent. I have to pay my car note. And these are just basic things that we feel we need to live. Okay. How can we use that? How can we use self-preservation to drive someone? want you to answer. I just want you to think about it.
Okay.
Love. I have told people, I kid you not, I have told them that when I first did P90X, before I did P90X, I had a hard time finding dates. I had a hard time finding love. And one of the big drivers for me to get in shape was to get higher caliber level, higher quality caliber, whatever you want to call it, of women. I wanted hotter chicks. I wanted to date hotter chicks. And believe it or not, that drives. I have coached women where I have told them, if you want to get that man that you are after, then become the woman that he's after. And that drives them. That motivates them. 3, fear. Okay, let's go poverty. Fear of poverty. And fear of poverty is what happens if I'm broke? What happens if this doesn't work? I cannot lose this job that I have, because if I do, I will be poor, I will be broke, and that is the worst thing in my life. I drive down the street and I look at the homeless people and I just cringe. I roll up my windows. I do not want to be that. And maybe it's because you experience it. Maybe you experience poverty. Maybe you just have this belief that it's so bad. Criticism. And this is something that drives me a lot, is criticism. What are people going to say? What are they going to say if I fail? What are they going to say if I do this differently? And remember that a driver could either drive you towards your goal, or it could drive you away from your goal. So know the power that it has. Ill health. Ill health. How can you use ill health to get someone to want to purchase a challenge pack and come on board into your challenge? Loss of a loved one. We've coached people before, and this is something I'm very passionate about, because I lost my father at a young age, and it was because he didn't take care of his body. And when cancer, which took his life away, hit him, he wasn't in any capacity to fight it off. So that's a huge driver for me, and I've used that. I've talked to people. I'm like, I've talked to parents. Do you want to be gone? Do you want your children to experience life without you? That's a driver. Loss of liberty. Loss of liberty. This is, what happened if you were chained up? What happened if you were chained up? What happened if you had to go to jail? What happened if you were in prison? I don't know how you'd use it, but you can use it somehow. Get creative. Old age. Oh, this is the good one. Old age. How many people do you know, and how many people do you know who have bought skincare, who have bought vitamins, who have bought creams so they could look younger, they could feel younger? The driver. Death. Death. I have seen so many people.
Whatever they say, they can get you more than you're going to take.
I have seen so many people take action after they've had a heart attack, or after they've had a near-death experience. Why? Because death. They're scared of death. So, number 4, sex. Sex, it is a driver. Some of the greatest accomplishments that this world has ever seen has been because of the relationship of a man and a woman. Men would slay dragons. They would slay dragons just for the sexual affection of the woman of their village. It's a driver. Life after death. What is this? This is karma. You want to do good now, because later you don't know what's going to happen. And you want to be in good terms. Freedom of body and mind. How does it feel to be a slave to food? How does it feel to be a slave to ill health? How does it feel to be a slave to your job? A slave to your career? How does that feel? It's a driver. Revenge. Hey, I don't know how to tell this. I don't know how to tell you this, but you know that guy that just dumped you? How would you like for him to regret that decision in 3 months? Revenge. Revenge. Hate. Hate. I don't know how to use that one. You're going to have to help me out with that one. Self-expression and recognition. You know those cool Beachbody shirts that you get for completing a program? You know those cool shirts that you get for rank advancing? That's recognition. There's power behind it. People, they've noticed that people take an extra step for recognition. Self-expression, being your own boss. Self-expression, recognition. And then lastly, material gain. These are the things that you can acquire if you're successful. These are the things that you can purchase, if you do this right. So these are the 10 drivers. These are the 10 drivers. If I was talking to you, Lori, and you've probably heard me use some of them when I talk to you. How do I get Lori to take action? There's nothing wrong with using these. There's nothing at all wrong with using these at all. Everybody at a subconscious level is being pushed by one of these 10 drivers, these 10 motives with every decision that you make. Every decision you make is being driven by one of these 10 things. So how do you use that same science to get your challengers into action? How do you use these to get your challengers to step up to the plate as coaches? How do you use these to get your coaches to take action and get to that next step, to get closer towards their goals, get closer towards their dreams? Now I see your wheels spinning right now, Lori. I see them spinning. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk about what we were talking about before I press record. The coach that we were talking about, which one of these 10 can you use to help push her? How many of them can you use?
I think a couple. I mean, I think the fear plays a huge role for her, but I think her accomplishment completing a program, she's learning that she's not defined by that whole criticism. Not everyone is out there to criticize her. So I think that's a driver for her. I think that's a turning point for her right now.
Okay. Is she currently in a relationship?
No.
Oh, that's a big one with women right there.
Yep.
You've got love, you've got sex, you've got self-expression, recognition. I mean, that is a driver. And there's nothing wrong with using that as a driver. It's absolutely true. If you take care of yourself and you have a higher self-esteem, then you're going to attract someone who takes care of themselves and has a high self-esteem. Nothing wrong with that. Wouldn't you want that for her?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so what could you use to get her to come on board as a coach and succeed as a coach?
I've just been talking to her. I'm not procrastinating on it at all, but I know how to handle her, and I know what turns her off and what will turn her away. Mm-hmm. So I've really just been encouraging her to, keep doing what she's doing. And she's not going to do it earlier than by me pushing her. She has to be ready to do it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I've just been sticking with her, and she's my friend anyway, so that helps. It's not like I was going after her to be a coach, although I think she would make a great one because she's going to have a really good story to tell people.
Okay. So, I think that you have a solid grasp. I mean, you have such a better relationship with her than anyone else, of us. So I'm not taking that away from you. All I'm trying to do is use this as a learning situation. So, mm-hmm. What I would do if she was single, I would look self-preservation. She's something that she's probably not driven by. It sounds like she has a good job. She gets to afford the luxuries that she wants. So love, I would want to talk about love. One, because I want her to get into a healthy relationship, and I know that how she sees herself, how she feels about herself, is going to play an important role in the relationship that she gets in. As a matter of fact, Steph shared this with me the other day. She says that when we get into a relationship, we will let the person abuse us just a little bit less than we abuse ourselves. So if we have negative self-talk and we have a low self-esteem, we will let.
No, you will stay.
Or you will stay. You will stay. You will allow. You will allow. Stay. You will allow someone else to talk down upon you just a little bit less than you talk down upon yourself. Would I want my friend to get into a relationship like that?
Nope.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I see this as a way to improve her self-esteem. Continue to see herself looking better, feeling better. And I let her know that. Hey, are you feeling down, or are you missing your workouts? I'm going to tell you this stuff. I'm going to tell you this stuff because if I don't, who will? Who will? Okay, and just I'm gonna keep on working down this, because if we talked about it before. If you're very far away, then I need more motives to push you. I need more motives to push you. Now, I'm not going to push you. All I'm going to do is trigger those thoughts and those emotions that are going to push you 24/7 around the clock. And I might give you subtle reminders from time to time, but I'm not going to go out there and whip you, or I don't want to be the person that just constantly nags you to do this. So I'm looking out for your best interest. So I've told you before, I've used some of these with some people that I've motivated. Now, I know at the end of the day that if someone gets through a program, even if someone takes on this coaching, and where I'm at right now, I feel like when people come on board for this coaching opportunity, it's one of the best things that they can do. It's one of the best things that you can do for several reasons. For one, let's talk about economic security. You never know what's going to happen with your job. I mean, you've lost a job before. I've lost a job before. I've seen people lose jobs before. It's not a very good feeling. You get into that sticky, icky situation where you're just floating. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't want anyone to experience that. To give them an opportunity to build a soft landing, some security. Yes, I want that for people. This will provide it. This will provide it. 2, love. And we're talking about self-esteem, and the way that I look at it is if I could get someone on board on with this coaching opportunity, it gives me an opportunity to work with them on a one-on-one basis and help them set goals. And I know that with every goal that they achieve, their self-esteem goes up, their confidence goes up, their belief goes up. And that is going to improve their relationships across the board. You can only love others as much as you love yourself. And with this opportunity, I'm helping you love yourself more in an indirect way. Fear, okay, we have a fear of poverty. Let's get rid of that. Let's have a backup plan. You are the captain of your ship with this. Criticism. Okay, I have to help you. In order to be successful with this, I have to help you get through criticism. And I can do it because it's one of the hardest things that I've had to do myself. When you hesitate to ask for the sale, when you hesitate to deal with someone's objections, what is it that's stopping you? Fear of criticism. When you hesitate to ask for someone to come on board as a coach because this is an icky MLM, what's stopping you? Fear of criticism. Who cares? I know I posted something on my Facebook. I'm like, people's thoughts of me or people's opinions of me, they're not paying my bills. They're not paying my bills today. They're not paying my bills tomorrow. So, this opportunity allows me to help them overcome it. Ill health, I mean, come on. Your body is your business. Loss of a loved one, loss of liberty, Old age, death, all of that is taken into account when you are putting your body and your health as an integral part of your business. What I've seen before multiple times in my life is when people go after success in their business or success in their career, and they do it at all costs, including their relationships, including their health, including everything that really depicts true richness in life, and they do it for the dollar bill. They do it for the money bag. They do it for that green paper. For what? It's just printed ink on a paper. You should treat it as a byproduct always. Sex for sex. Why would you want to be on board as a coach? How could I use that as a driver? Well, for me, this means helping couples. This means helping couples work together for a common goal. What I've seen is that when a couple works together on a common goal, when they have a problem that they're trying to tackle together, when I see that they have a challenge that's in front of them, that they're leaning on each other day in and day out, night by night, their relationship grows stronger. I always tell people that. I have a lot of friends who are in bad relationships. And I say, you know what you want to do to solve it? Find something that y'all guys can both work on together. What better thing to do than to build a business together? What better way to grow closer and tighter than to build a business together, helping people? I haven't found something better than that. If you find something, let me know. Life after death. This is karma. This is the law of compensation. You just go out and you start helping people, good things are going to happen. The right doors are going to open up. The opportunities are going to present themselves, all because you do something good for someone. You help make someone's life better. Freedom of body and mind, and this is your business. You have freedom. You have your corporate world. Okay, your corporate world. What do? Most of the time, you're following rules. In some places, if you don't follow the rules to a T, you're getting called into the office. You're getting you're getting bitched out. You're made. They make you feel like crap, and you go back for more. You go back for more. With this, you have an opportunity to imagine, use your creativity, use what you've been gifted with and turn it into financial freedom. You have it with this opportunity. Hey, whatever, you're good with people, you're good with design, you're good with artwork, whatever you are, you can use it. Revenge. Okay. Why would you want to come on board as a coach? Revenge. Why? Well, because someone said you couldn't do it. We've all had that experience when someone said we couldn't do it. Or even worse, we told ourselves we couldn't do it. Prove yourself wrong. Take revenge on yourself. You're fair game. Hate. Okay, I'm still trying to think of this one. I hate using the word hate, so it's hard for me. But how could you use hate, to come on board as a coach? Well, perfect example. I hate hate. That's one of the things that I hate. I hate hate. And with this business,
Love shall conquer all.
You're exactly right, babe. Love shall conquer all. With this business, you cannot succeed with hate. The only way you're going to succeed is with love. You have to have a loving heart, to go out and do the things that we do to help people. You have to have it. So hate fat, hate laziness, hate these things, and be the person that goes and steps up for the fight. Self-expression and recognition. Well, we all want recognition. We all want a pat on the back. And believe it or not, it's a proven fact that most people stick with their jobs because of the gratitude that they receive, because of the recognition they receive, not because of the paycheck, because they have a sense of belonging, a sense of accomplishment, and because they're wanted. Guys, we've got such a strong team. What Steph and I want for each and every one of you is you're not going to find too many people that want to see you succeed as bad as we do. There's a lot of opportunity for self-expression and recognition. Be a contributor. Help grow what we've started. And then lastly, material gain. Well, material gain. You come on board because of the things that you want to accrue. There's nothing wrong with wanting things. If you go out and you help a ton of people and you make an impact on their lives, there's nothing wrong with you taking that profit and buying what you want, buying that new convertible, paying off that house, taking that vacation, buying that sweet dress, the new cologne. There's nothing wrong with that. Good job. That is your reward. And that's another reason why you want to come on board as a coach. So you could use all 10 of these reasons for helping people push play on a consistent basis, but also taking it to the next level and coming on board as a coach. This is why you want to do it. So let me ask you this. Now that I've shared that with you, Lori, what's driving you right
now? I'd say recognition.
Okay. Recognition.
And probably the freedom of body and mind.
Freedom of body and mind. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you, because this is something I did with myself recently. Okay. This is what I've done, and I was sharing this with Steph. I said, look, this is what you want to do. You're no different than the challenger that I was just talking about. I'm no different. Steph's no different. Yvette's no different. Yeah. This is where you want to get. This is where you are. If you're really close, then find one. Find one of these motives to get you there. If you're pretty far, find several. And if you can't find it, then put yourself in position. Put yourself in position to benefit from these. And now that you've understand them, now that you've been exposed to them, what can you do to put yourself in position to allow them to drive you? How? How can you rearrange it? What do you have to tell yourself in order to allow this to drive you? See, these things are so powerful, guys. I mean, Christopher Columbus discovered America because of one of these 10 drivers.
Landed in America.
It landed in America. You're right. I'm sorry. The wars were won because of one of these 10 drivers. You are going to live the exact life that you want because of one of these drivers, 2 of these drivers, 3 of these drivers. So it's up to you to find out which one is really calling out to you. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And if it's not there, then put them there. Put them there. Let them do what they do. These are natural drivers. Let them do what they do. Put them there. Put yourself in a position where you're right in front of them. Get in front of that locomotive. Get in front of that 18-wheeler and just let it push you. Let it drive you. And do the same thing with your challengers. Do the same thing with your coaches. I'm going to share this list on the group. I want you to print it out. I want you to print it out, and I want you to think about the people that you're working with. The people that you're working with, the people that you want to work with, the people that you have a hard time working with, and start throwing them out there. Put them out there. Be bold. Be that person that says, hey, real talk. Are you doing this so you can get more dates? If it helped you get more dates, would you push harder? If this helped you express yourself, if this helped you get recognition more, would it push you harder? Let me show you a way. Let me show you a way and how it does it for me, or how it does it for some of the other people on our team. Okay. Give me some feedback, Lori. What are you thinking?
I think they change also. Like I would say that when I first wanted to lose weight, it was due to revenge. So I think these change as you progress in your journey.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. They change as your journey changes. What else are you thinking?
No.
No, that's fine. So, one of the things that really drove me, it really drove me, was my fear of criticism. My fear of criticism most of the time holds me back from doing the things that I really want to do. You know, it's made me hesitate. Oh, what are people going to think? You know, how do I look? You know, I'm not really ready to share that before after picture. When I finally was able to get through P90X, you know what I did? I shared my before picture. I shared my before picture every week. And I used what was holding me back to fuel me. So instead of fearing criticism in regards to what are people going to say if I post this, I said, what are people going to say if I don't have progress next week? Oh, what did that do to me? What did that do to me? So I'm in a rut right now since we've moved to San Diego. And we've been going out and grabbing margaritas and trying Taco Tuesdays everywhere. What am I going to use? I'm going to use the same thing, that same fear of criticism. So what do I have to do? I have to throw myself out there. I have to throw myself out there. I said, I'm going to be damned if this is going to hold me back. I'm going to let it fuel me just like it did last time. I'm going to throw myself out there, and I'm going to say, this is where I am. Watch me next week. And what do you think is going to happen?
They're going to watch you.
well, I better step my game up. It's going to help me say no to those margaritas. It's going to help me say no to those tortilla chips. Yeah, because I don't want that criticism. I fear the criticism. It's not a bad thing if I use it as a good thing. So I'm going to share this. I want you to print it out. These 10 drivers, they didn't come from me. Okay, they didn't come from me. They came from a science that was studied for over 20 years, time tested. It's been put out into the field for over a century. It's made more successes than any other reference in history, other than the Bible. The Bible takes all. These things are proven. They work. You just have to figure out how to work them. How to work them for the situation that you're in, for the people that you're working with. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and press stop on the record. I want you guys to stay on just for a bit longer, but that's the content that I want to share for the rest of the team. So just hold on 1 second while I press stop. You guys, thank you. If this didn't make sense the first time, watch it again. If it didn't make sense the second time, watch it again. Print it out. Understand this. Remember, you have no right whatsoever to ask anybody to do anything or purchase anything unless you've planted the right motive. You guys take care. If you have any questions, let me know.